Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
What if the metals hiding in your child's cookware, toys, or even prenatal nutrition choices are quietly rewriting their gut wiring and shaping their mood? Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster, and with me is co-host Ilara Sky. Together we translate emerging science into clear, actionable insight for you.
Today we're examining two new studies that connect everyday exposure to cadmium, zinc, cobalt, and lead with shifts in the gut microbes that govern digestion, immunity, and emotional balance in children. You'll hear how specific metal microbe pairings predict metabolic risk, digestive trouble, and even higher depression scores years later.
Let's start with the first investigation. Published in Environmental Science and Technology, researchers collected stool from 116 healthy children aged 8 to 12 in Quebec, measured 19 different metals, and then sequenced the DNA of their gut bacteria to see how each element mapped onto microbial composition and function.
The results were stark. Elevated zinc coincided with a bloom of Tauriscobacter sanguinis, a microbe previously tied to obesity and metabolic disorders. At the same time, both high zinc and high cadmium were linked to a decline in Eubacterium elegans, a beneficial species that repairs the intestinal lining and calms inflammation.
That loss matters because Eubacterium elegans manufactures short-chain fatty acids that soothe your intestinal wall and help regulate immune tone. When its numbers fall during childhood, the likelihood of food sensitivities, chronic irritation, and metabolic drift rises, effects that may not surface until adolescence or adulthood.
Beyond individual species, the team tracked microbial genes and found 490 metabolic pathways altered by metal load. Critical routes for synthesizing amino acids and breaking down carbohydrates were dialed up or down, meaning the very machinery that fuels energy production, mood stability, and immune defense was being reprogrammed by invisible toxins.
Your child's gut controls chemical messages to the brain, trains immune cells, and extracts fuel from food. When metals shift its microbial balance, the fallout can show up as irritability, afternoon fatigue, frequent infections, or unexpected food reactions, signs that often seem unconnected but share the same origin.
The second study, in Science of the Total Environment, traced exposures back to pregnancy. Investigators measured metals in maternal blood during each trimester, followed the children for nearly a decade, and then compared prenatal metal patterns, current gut microbes, and standardized depression scores.
11.6% of the children carried a distinctive quartet: high zinc in the second trimester, low cobalt in the third, plus elevated levels of Bacteroides fragilis and Faecalibacterium prausnitzii. That combination aligned with depression scores 15.4% higher than peers, an effect larger than any other metal microbe grouping tested.
The mechanism appears stepwise. F. prausnitzii consumes gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA, a neurotransmitter that dampens stress signals. Too much of this microbe may drain the pool of calming chemicals. Meanwhile, B. fragilis produces GABA, but also compromises gut barrier integrity and stirs neuroinflammation. Low cobalt restricts vitamin B12 synthesis, hindering brain development.
Together, these factors form a sequence from womb to brain. Metals shift early microbiome assembly, altered microbes tweak neurotransmitters and immune regulation. Mood differences surface years later. Importantly, exposure levels came from ordinary sources: food packaging, non-stick pans, tobacco smoke, and nutritional imbalances, conditions many families encounter daily.
Reducing risk starts with environment. Keep children away from secondhand smoke, a major cadmium source. Test soil or dust if you live near busy roads or industrial sites, and discourage play in contaminated areas. Examine brightly colored plastic toys, inexpensive jewelry, and imported ceramics. If items lack safety certification, set them aside.
Water can be a hidden conduit for metals. If your home predates modern plumbing standards, have tap water analyzed and install a filter certified to remove heavy metals. In the kitchen, swap aluminum cookware and scratch non-stick surfaces for stainless steel or seasoned cast iron to cut daily leaching.
Next, focus on foods that soothe a stressed microbiome. Offer white rice, ripe fruit, or well-cooked root vegetables to supply steady glucose for both your child and their bacteria. These simple carbohydrates stabilize blood sugar while giving the gut a break from fibers it may currently struggle to handle.
As digestion calms, reintroduce fiber gradually. Start with resistant starch sources that foster butyrate production, the compound that nourishes intestinal cells. Cooked and cooled potatoes, green bananas, and slightly underripe plantains feed the very bacteria metals often suppress, helping rebuild a balanced microbial community.
Processed snacks add hidden metals and pro-inflammatory seed oils. Replace bars, chips, and packaged pastries with homemade alternatives. Bake with ghee, grass-fed butter, or coconut oil, and rely on whole food ingredients you can pronounce. Fewer additives mean fewer routes for contaminants to reach your child.
Support the body's natural elimination pathways through movement and hydration. Encourage at least 20 minutes of active play or sports that raise a light sweat each day. Provide clean, filtered water throughout the day, and store leftovers in glass or stainless steel containers instead of plastic whenever possible.
Stay alert to warning signs that the gut remains under strain. Mood swings, difficulty concentrating, lingering fatigue, repeated infections, or digestive discomfort. These cues often reflect microbial imbalance linked to metal exposure. Address sources first, then maintain the supportive habits we've outlined.
Let's address common questions. First, how do heavy metals like cadmium and zinc alter gut health? Elevated concentrations disrupt the microbiome, lowering levels of inflammation-reducing species such as Eubacterium elegans, and encouraging microbes tied to metabolic risk, ultimately skewing digestion, immunity, and mood regulation.
Second, what symptoms suggest a metal-related gut imbalance? Watch for irritability, mood swings, low energy, frequent illness, food sensitivities, and abdominal discomfort. These outward signs mirror the internal microbial shifts documented in the research.
Third, where are children encountering these metals? Sources include cigarette smoke, lead-based paint in homes built before 1978, contaminated soil, imported toys and jewelry, food packaging, aluminum cookware, and scratched nonstick pans. Even prenatal exposures through maternal blood set the stage for later effects.
Fourth, how is gut bacteria tied to childhood depression? The second study showed that specific prenatal metal profiles paired with increased F. prausnitzii and B. fragilis correlated with depression scores 15% higher than average, underscoring the gut-brain connection.
Finally, how can you help your child recover? Start by removing exposure sources, then provide simple carbs for immediate fuel, followed by gradual fiber reintroduction, whole food snacks, daily movement, and ample filtered water. These steps lower toxic load and restore microbial balance.
Here's your challenge. Tonight, choose one action. Replace an aluminum pan, swap a processed snack for cooled potatoes, or schedule a soil or water test, and make it happen within 24 hours. Small shifts, done consistently, safeguard your child's gut and mind. Thank you for watching Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.